Hi, I'm Mel, and I am choosy. My ultimate skin goal is gusto kong mag-even out ang skin tone ko.
Hi, my name is Gian Anwada. My skin goals are to become whiter, fairer, healthier, and younger.
It really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasy, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasy.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair strong and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
Give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling. by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
Hi, I'm Mel, and I am choosy. My ultimate skin goal is gusto kong mag-even out ang skin tone ko.
Hi, my name is Gian Anwada. My skin goals are to become whiter, fairer, healthier, and younger.
it really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasine, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasine.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair strong and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
Give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
there's more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential for successful business.
And we're live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning to our Zoom participants. And good morning to our FB Live viewers. Hope everything is fine with you. Hope everything is well with you. So, welcome to our another series of HR Virtual Summit PH 2020 Bounce Back HR. So, today we will be having a back to back session. This morning's topic is leverage HR technology to power up innovation. My name is Irish Malonda, your host, and joining me as my co-host and moderator and one of the Ariva partner speaker, Mr. Howell Mabalot. Hello, Sir Howell. Good morning.
Hello, Miss Irish. Good morning and good morning to everyone here in the Philippines. Good evening sa mga nasa ibang bahagi ng mundo and good afternoon.
Yes, and Sir Howell, let us welcome our out-of-the-country participants first. So we have participants from Zagreb, Croatia, Delhi, India, hello. Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia, welcome to our webinar. Koror, Palau, Lima, Peru, Doha, Qatar, Singapore, Bangkok, Thailand, Atlanta, United States. Wow, thank you for joining us. And also we have participants from Cebu, Ms. Melaine, UP Mindanao, Miss Ethel, hello, good morning. Angie Brillo from Bulacan and Miss Elvira from PricewaterhouseCoopers. Thank you for joining us today. And in order for us to have a smooth flow of our e-learning session, here are some few reminders and house rules. For those of you who are first-time viewers of our webinar, type in the chat box hi now. So type in hi and tell us where are you from. Okay, let us see. Let's check who are the first-timers here. Oliver, Sir Oliver. Hello po from Cebu. Hello, Kurt. Ms. Armeline from Cavinti, Laguna. Hello po. Christina, Monica, good morning. Laura Bell from Cavite. Okay, good morning, everyone. And we would like to know if you can hear us loud and clear. We're audible, so you will be needing a good quality headset and follow the codes below. So type in now at the chat box 111 if you can hear us loud and clear. Let's check. Miss Fatima, loud and clear. Okay, thank you. Jenny, Janina, 111. Okay, we're good. And type in 222 means you cannot hear us. Okay, 2121 means the sound is breaking or there's a log. and question mark if you don't understand anything. But so far, 111, Sir Howell. So loud and clear. Okay, moving on. We will be having a 2 to 3 minute break after the presentation of our guest speaker and before we move on to our question and answer portion. Participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussion to avoid interruptions. Questions will be entertained after each topic of the session. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click raise hand button for the administrator to enable the microphone for live questions. Type in your questions at the Q&A box. One question at a time will be entertained. For comments and feedback, please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your comments, feedback, topics to discuss for us to improve our future e-learning sessions. Okay, and now I know you're excited to meet our guest speaker this morning to discuss leverage HR technology to power up innovation. Mr. Howell Mabalot, please introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you so much, Miss Irish. It is definitely a great honor for me to introduce our speaker for this morning's session. We have two for the day, but this morning our speaker is the CEO of People Collider, a company focused on improving HR's ability to create a more human future through technology. She has broad experience formulating HR strategies that align workforce evolution to business growth and profitability, designing and implementing HR programs, and supporting the implementation of new HR practices. Over the last 5 years, PIP has been researching and speaking about the future of work and the role HR needs to play in finding synergy between humans and technology within organizations. Everyone, let's all hear it for Miss Philippa Pip Penfold. Hi, Ma'am Pip.
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Everyone. Nice to see you as well.
The last time I saw you in person was last year's HR Summit here in the Philippines.
Yes, in August in Manila. I had so much fun.
And
we have to try and recreate the fun for everybody in a virtual environment. Not quite the same, is it, from our living rooms?
It's not, but you know what? What's happening now is what you have predicted a year ago. You talked about dystopia and utopia, and sadly, it's the dystopia happening now.
Yes, it is.
Like during the tech rehearsal, I told you, it seems like you're a prophet, not of doom, but of truth. Prophet of truth. And it happened now.
Yes, I know we keep talking about disruption and innovating and the need to be agile. And all of a sudden, it was very obvious who wasn't. And it's all come crashing down for many of us. So a lot have stepped up. Don't get me wrong. A lot have stepped up. It's been so exciting to see HR stepping up to the plate. We talk about heroes with nurses and doctors and cleaners and everything. Sure. Honestly, I think HR are some of the biggest heroes in the room. They are the ones that have kept the businesses running and the people engaged. So bravo to everyone in HR. Well done.
Ma'am Pip, if I may just say, well, we believed in what you have predicted to happen. It's just that we didn't see it coming so fast. We didn't see it happening in 2020. But
disruption has that happened?
We didn't see it. But then we didn't see it coming, and yet we're thankful that you briefed us and not really warned us, but you have informed us about it last.
I wish I could have helped a little more, but never mind. We will be better prepared for next time. And I think actually in the Philippines, you have been better prepared than many countries. You are used to crisis events, with the typhoons and all these sorts of things.
Yes,
other markets, other countries, this sort of thing, crises, they're very unprepared for. So I think you'll be surprised. I think in Manila and across the market, you've done better than most. So bravo.
Thank you for comforting us with those thoughts. Thank you, Ma'am Pip. Which is why your topic today is very relative, important, current, and useful. Leverage HR technology to power up innovation. So, Ma'am Pip, take it away. The stage
Thank you
is yours.
so much. I'm just seeing someone has said, Natalie has said they need to check the video, my video. Let me.
Oh.
Um,
but I can clearly hear you, Ma'am Pip. So
let me see. Let me share my screen and let's make sure. I'll wait for everyone in the chat just to say that they can see the title slide. Leverage HR technology to power up innovation. Can I see some chat just to know that everyone's got this? Yes, thanks, Fatima.
Yes.
Thank you. Awesome, guys.
Oh, yes.
Great. Wonderful.
Yes.
Good morning once again. It is from my living room to your living room. It could be cupboard. I confess that I was on a webinar the other day and I asked everyone where they were, and someone had locked themselves in a cupboard to avoid the children so that they could watch a webinar in peace. I think that all of us, it has been a little bit crazy, but we are surviving. We should be very proud of our efforts. Bravo again. The question now is, where do we go from here? I'm glad everyone can see, log out, fantastic. Oh, you've got the back, thank you in the background, virtual background, very useful to hide the mess that is sitting behind me in the lounge room. Okay, guys, let's get down to business of the presentation. Now, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. The world will never be the same again. I was quite disappointed that a lot of specialists start coming out with new normal. Were you worried? Like I was thinking, new normal, what's that? Am I supposed to know? And I was asked to do a presentation on the new normal. And I suddenly realized we don't know yet. Nobody. So a lot of the specialists are predicting what it will be like, and we think we have to prepare for it, but actually we don't know what it will be like yet. We are still in a state of flux, and while we know it won't be the same again, we don't know what it will be like. One thing we do know is that to thrive in the future, we will need innovation more than ever. I'm sure in the past, innovation, yes, it's a nice to have, it's a good to have. Some parts of our organization were innovating, some not so much. And I think the ones, I'm seeing a lot of statistics that support the ones who have already been innovating, have already moved ahead digitally, are already in a much more agile way of working. And they are the ones who are able to make the adjustments much more effectively than those who haven't. Interesting to see if those who've dropped behind stay behind and unfortunately fall by the wayside. Today, we need innovation more than ever. So let's just quickly recap on innovation. I know we use the term a lot, and we often have different understanding about what it means. I think that the way I like to think about it is you're simply an applied idea, method, or product. It's not just, oh, Pam has raised her hand. Are you just practicing, Pam? It's so nice to be able to interact with everyone. Usually on stage, I can't interact anywhere near as much as I can here. This is fantastic. Let me just... Okay, that's all right, Pam, no problem. Thank you for testing the system for me. That's great, no problem. Okie doke, so the most important thing on this top line is that it does not remain a concept. So Apple, we always think of Apple and the iPhone when we think of innovation. It actually doesn't have to be that radical. But what it does do is have to move from an idea or the concept of the iPhone to the reality of the iPhone. And that also means that inventions are not innovations. Innovation is when we've taken an invention and we've applied it. It has been implemented. Ideally, they solve problems. The best innovations solve problems. If we are to think that only the inventions that solve problems become innovations or are adopted, then we can say that yes, innovations are designed to solve problems. The one that I think a lot of people get mixed up about is around, has it been done before? In fact, there's two schools of thought. One is it is something brand new for everybody, never been done before by anybody. And the other school of thought is that innovation is something that has never been done before by us, by an organization, by me. I might do something that a colleague has done, but because I've never done it before, I could call that an innovation. I actually like that second version better. It may not sound as cool and as funky, but I think it makes innovation so much more achievable for all of us. So, and don't forget, knitting needles once upon a time were innovations. So with that in mind, let's move forward to the next hour. Now we're going to break it up. I'm not going to bore you with talking for an hour. I'm sure we've all been zoomed out by the end of the day. That's not my intention. I'll present for about 40 minutes. I'll keep an eye on the time, 50 at most, and then we'll move to a Q&A. I'm much more interested in hearing from you. This is one of the great things about being on a webinar rather than being on stage. I can hear your questions so much better. So I will ask questions throughout and look for your answers in chat, and then we'll use the Q&A functionality at the end of the session. So our goal today is to understand, how do we as HR professionals increase and improve innovation in our companies? We know it is imperative. What can we do to support it? I always think of innovation as being a recipe. What are the ingredients for innovation? We can break these down in multiple ways, but I like separating them this way in the 4 C's: creativity, how we are using our imagination, something highly underrated since we've become adults; how we communicate. I know this is an standard old one that we've talked about for many decades. It remains as important as ever. Collaboration. Many of us have to collaborate, particularly in cross-functional teams in the performance of our job today. And connectedness. I think connectedness today means something quite different for all of us who are sitting here watching a little light or watching people on a screen, where we are missing the connectedness, the social connectedness that we have with our colleagues in the workplace. And while we can have crazy Zooms and WhatsApp chats, Facebook Messenger chat, we know it's not the same. And our connectedness, our social connectedness, is very important to us as humans, but also for innovation. Okay, time to try that chat out again. I'd like you to answer either one or all of these questions. It's really just to give you a time to think and for me to see what you're thinking. When did you last use your imagination? What did you use it for? Did it help you solve a problem? What problem was it? And how did it make you feel to use your imagination? Who'd like to start with some of the answers? Got the chat up there. Looking forward to your answers.
Okay, don't be shy. Type in your answers.
There's no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. When
No
you
right or
last imagination.
And you're allowed to say, finishing my work from school. Morning cookie for breakfast. Thank you so much. Yeah. Scenario book, fantastic. Baking at home. Do you know, I love everyone is baking. I have started baking as well. It's been so exciting to be able to get more creative in the kitchen. I agree. Lots of creativity going on in everyone's kitchens at the moment. Fantastic. I think a lot of people are practicing creativity with their children and trying to emulate schoolwork. Who else? How did you feel? Was it nice to be able to use your creativity again, your imagination? Tourism problems. Yes. Thank you, Monica. That's a big one. Thank you. Good to see you, Mila. Wonderful, Oliver. And your daughter. Thank you. Yes, it is wonderful to be a child again. If you saw my presentation in August last year with the Ariva Academy, we were talking about the human skills. And we often talk about complex problem solving and all that cool stuff. And I'm always amazed we never remember imagination. Imagination is so important. Yes, we're using a lot of imagination to work out how to survive, keep the kids amused while we're trying to work. Yes. Oh, that's right. I'm so great. I'm glad to see you guys being creative and using your imagination and feeling good for it again as well. That's wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. Emmanuel, Amy, thank you. That's fantastic. So it just goes to show we can be extremely creative when we need to be. Interestingly, creativity, while we have not talked about it a lot, has always been there, is number one importance. You may remember over the last 5 years, a lot of presentations have included 2 lists of top 10 skills. The ones that were top 10 by the World Economic Forum in the Future of Jobs report, and then what they predicted for 2020. Creativity in 2015 was ranked as number 10. And they predicted it would be the number 3 skill needed for 2020. Now here we are in 2020. I put it to you to think about, do you think it's fair to keep it at number 3, or have recent changes meant that we've actually needed it to be a number 1 skill? Some great more chat. Thank you, guys. Lockdown, a lot of creativity. Thank you so much, Venus. That's great. So, another study I find very interesting is the one by IBM. They did a global study of CEOs, and they selected creativity as the most crucial factor for future success of their business. Interestingly, that was done in 2010. I'm sure a lot of them 10 years later in the current environment agreeing that yes, creativity is definitely the most important skill and one of the ones that is ensuring future success. Luckily, we can learn creativity. We can teach it. We can teach people. So we've seen the ability to be creative by taking on challenging tasks. I think a lot of us have been schooling from home, and we would call that a challenging task. We've never appreciated teachers more, I think, than we have in recent times. And the ability to retrieve knowledge outside the main area of expertise. If you've heard me speak before, you've probably heard me talk about this one. We've seen it in the T-man, the T skills, the depth and the breadth of our skills. And I have been encouraging us as HR professionals to develop skills beyond our area of expertise. So yes, we absolutely need depth in HR, but we also need breadth. We need breadth in different areas of business, how to interpret customer feedback, what we can do about it. So we need to give people opportunity to take on challenging tasks, maybe not more challenging than they are right now, but also to be able to retrieve knowledge outside their main area of expertise. One that we find, and you'll find some information in Daniel Pink's book, Drive, about this, based on the work of Edward Desai. Very interesting to see that if you reward creativity with money or with another extrinsic reward, creativity goes down, not up. Only intrinsic motivation increases creative performance. So, can we assign people things that they will enjoy? Can we help develop expertise where people are passionate? Because if you are interested, if you have intrinsic motivation and a passion to learn something perhaps different to what you are currently expert in, then your creativity is exponentially increased. I know that a lot of us were not great bakers at the beginning of the lockdown, and we can now say we are baking a lot better than we did with the help of YouTube and mums and other learning platforms. We've learned how to how to do certain tasks in the kitchen that we never could have before. So we get a great deal of satisfaction. No one's paying us to do this. In fact, if we were paid, it wouldn't be nearly so fun. So we're passionate about it. The ability to learn something outside. I'm sure there are no professional chefs on this call today. So it's not something where we have a specific expertise, but it's been great to develop it as we've gone. How do we need to do it? So as HR, we need to think about the learning opportunities. I just want to take an aside here and talk about how we've focused on learning in this current environment. I do not agree that if people leave this lockdown period without having learned a new skill, they failed. I think there's been a lot of memes and a lot of talk that if you come out of lockdown, you should have this new skill and new ability. And, you know, I don't believe this. I'll tell you why. We actually don't need space in our calendar for learning as much as we need headspace. And a lot of us are really struggling. Baking is as good as it gets. Learning Python, learning something else. No, we are not got the headspace for it at the moment. Learning takes emotional energy and space in our head where we've got time. Now, some people will have that. I think most of us in HR do not have that. It's a luxury that we can ill afford. We certainly haven't had it up to now. But we do need to think about the learning opportunities we're offering our people today in this current state of flux and in whatever the new normal may be as we move forward. We need to encourage cross-functional learning. I'll talk more about this as we move forward. This is very, very important. And the learning platforms. I know in HR we love giving learning that is linked to a competency framework and a strict set of activities and capabilities and competencies that mean people will be able to move up the hierarchy. This does not help innovation. It does not. We need to think very differently about the platforms that we're using that help people develop a different expertise, satisfy their curiosity, use their imagination, connect with different people. And the other thing is how we go about helping people engage with them to solve problems that spark their imagination. We'll talk more about tech tools as we move forward, but the knowledge sharing and collaboration platforms are very important. So 3 things to check out. What learning platforms are you using in the workplace? Are people, is it very structured? Are we allowing anyone to get onto it? Are we talking to people about other technologies, whether it's MOOCs, encouraging them, but not enforcing, not making them feel like a failure if they have not got the time or the bandwidth to do it? Peer-to-peer learning tools, very important to help people learn. We learn a lot from each other. We certainly share a lot of information, much more than we do. While it's all online, I know we still, in spite of all the baking, I'm sure you still found peer-to-peer learning some of the most valuable when it came to baking, whether it was sharing something over Facebook, whether it was looking up, calling a friend or WhatsApping. We learn peer-to-peer better than nearly any other way. And then how the knowledge sharing platforms, I'll talk more about those in a minute. Okay. Time to get this chat in motion again. Communication. I know it's a standard one, but it is very important. So here's some questions. How has communication been managed during the crisis in your organization? Feel free to rate it if you like. No one will know where you're from, so it's okay. You can be honest, or you can answer anonymously if you want to be really honest. How has it differed to usual? And what tools have been used? What technology tools? By who and for what message? Who's used it as the communicator and who has heard it as the audience? Don't be shy, guys. G Suites, yeah, great. Thanks, Venus. Is a good one. I use that too. Who else is brave like Venus? I think everyone's popped up to the washroom. Grab a morning coffee. Email, yeah, still studying. Ouch, lots more. Fiber, yes, fiber's been great. Thank you so much, Sharon and Laurabelle. Facebook, where would we be without Facebook and Slack? Isn't it funny? Slack used to be so popular, it seemed to drop out, and then all of a sudden we came back again. Yeah, all virtual today. There's been a Q&A. I'll just make sure that's, yeah, fantastic, guys. Don't forget to answer these questions in the chat, and we'll move to Q&A later on. Fabulous, guys. Thank you so much. It's interesting to see how everybody is moving everything online and lots of different communications. Viber, Zoom, Messenger, Facebook, email. Are you the same generation where you think that email is actually quite old school now? Okay, let's go into it. We'll move through this one quite quickly because I know you know your stuff here. It is always important. It never isn't. But what has become very apparent now is the need to have an ability to communicate with multiple mediums. Everyone was sharing a huge array of technology tools to communicate. Who had to help their leaders do this? Did their leaders, their leadership team actually even know Viber existed? Were they able to communicate in this way? And were they able to do it effectively? Did they understand the power of emoticons in the right way in a professional setting? So it's quite difficult. And let's think about, that's great. Venus has just brought it up. Exactly. You've popped up my most important point. It's actually not just the people who are sending it. It's the people who are receiving it. I've had my mum stay with me while we've been in lockdown just because she's old and I want to ensure her safety. And it's fascinating to see where she is getting her information and what she believes to be true. The generational comfort with technology for communication and the trust we place in that is very real. So thank you, Venus. That is very important point that I want everyone to go. And it's not just the ability to use multiple. It is us being able to support our leaders to use multiple mediums and different methodologies and understanding what our audience needs. This is absolutely critical during crisis communication. We know this. We've seen this of late. It's all been a little bit crazy. And then leading cross-functional teams. Now, I'm just going to stop very quickly and take it aside on cross-functional teams because this is absolutely imperative when it comes to innovation and collaboration. If you are leading a cross-functional team, you need to be able to have a specific and articulated goal. But if you are leading a cross-functional team, you need to be able to communicate a specific and articulated goal. This is very different when we're talking about communicating with people in different environments. It's a little bit like the generational. It is a different dimension of diversity. With communication, we must think of the multiple dimensions of diversity that we need to address. So how can we help? We can help by supporting leadership development so that they can lead cross-functional teams effectively. We also need to communicate innovations, successes, and stories. We know as HR that it is the stories that make our culture. Oftentimes, if you ask someone to explain their culture by the values, yes, we hear, but you ask them to tell you a story about how it describes, it embellishes or embodies the culture, and we're able to do that a lot better. We know in HR the power of storytelling. I know we've been trying to get it into our data and analytics, but for innovation, it is also very, very important. We can think about all those 4 C's and how we're communicating successes with each of them. And back to Venus's point as well, we need to keep an audience diversity in mind when supporting leadership communication. Okay, quick recap on technology, social media. Well, I think we've got this one. Being able to utilize common communication tools. Do you know, a lot of people say email is old school. Well, not for everyone who needs to get the message. If you're only communicating in email, yes, you've got a problem because I know that anyone under 30 will not be reading that message. But for people in the 40 up plus, yes, absolutely. And we know this in HR. We can tell people things 3 times before they've actually heard. So repeat and repeat and repeat. Okie dokie. Keeping an eye on the time because I want to make sure we leave a lot of time for questions because I'm loving this chat. I'm sure you'll have some great questions. Collaboration. On to the third C, collaboration. Who do you collaborate with most at work? In your functional area, outside your functional area? Feel free to share either before the crisis or after or during where we are now. Do you collaborate on cross-functional teams? So cross-functional teams could be, I work on a project, I'm HR, and I work with finance people, IT people, a vendor, and a supplier, as an example. And the cross-functions, as a team, we have a single goal. So who's working on cross-functional teams? I'll just give you a moment to have a think and pop it into the chat. Yeah, thank you, Amy. Sales, yeah. Next com, yes. Senior always, we're always in cross-functional and senior team. Who else? Ops with logistics, yes. Absolutely. Department heads, yes. Thank you so much, Etienne. Laura Bell, we do a lot of collaboration. Yeah. Market research, finance, IT, yeah. We work in a lot of cross-functional teams. Who thinks they work in more cross-functional teams, that they collaborate cross-functionally more today than they did, say, 5 or 10 years ago? I think we do in HR. What do you think? Move products efficiently? Yes. So I think we all agree that we are all working cross-functionally and collaborating with people outside our area on a regular basis. I think it has increased. It certainly has over the course of my career. When I started in HR over 20 years ago, the only people who collaborated cross-functionally were senior personnel. Today, nearly everybody does, regardless of level. We are all collaborating with people beyond the boundaries of our function. So the ability to collaborate cross-functionally and operate effectively in a cross-functional team is very important. In fact, collaboration is so important. There was a study done by Deloitte, and they, in collaboration with Google, no pun intended, and they found that there was $9.3 billion, sorry, that's Australian dollars, worth of value being left on the table without effective collaboration. It's a huge amount of money. And that companies that prioritize collaboration were 5 times more likely to experience increase in employment, double profitability, and double outgrowing competitors. So collaboration is very, very important for all of us, including our businesses, to be able to leverage financially these days. It isn't only for innovation, it is for everybody. I think we've covered most of this, so I'm going to keep the timing short. It is part of the recipe. It's one of the key ingredients for innovation, alongside the ability to collaborate cross-functionally. And we've seen that a lot more digitally advanced companies are more collaborative. This is an interesting one because it suggests that companies, now this is not technology companies, these are companies who have evolved their ability in their digital transformation, and that they are being more collaborative. Now, if we think about on what we collaborate in a cross-functional team, where we're collaborating, it is often technology driven. Most of us, that first really big cross-functional team came because we were implementing some technology. Now, and particularly in HR. So the companies that have moved quite far on the digital transformation process are actually by nature much more collaborative because they have to be to get there. So it's very interesting to see that the statistics are showing that those who are more digitally advanced are more productive. But this means we need to change a lot to collaborate well. It does not just happen overnight. Our work practices and our behavioural norms all need to change for us to be able to collaborate more smoothly and seamlessly with people beyond our function. I often think it's that when I see an organisation chart, it's like going along with an eraser and rubbing out the boxes around the names. I find that they are very restrictive and we are not collaborating well. I'll mention this again when we talk about connectedness. So I had to laugh when I saw this because Gartner found that 50% of communication, team communication, was through collaboration platforms. And we'll move into the tech in a minute because I promised you with the title that we'd talk tech. Now that was a while ago. That was before the crisis. I often wonder how much we are relying on collaboration platforms and how effective we're finding them today. It was worth only, and I will say only, because back in 2018, $11 billion in the collaborative software market. I'm sure we have blown that out of proportion, out of the water already. We are all Zoomified. We were not using Zoom on a regular basis. We all are now, where we have pajamas on the bottom and suits on the top and crazy home life in the background. But the market has definitely exploded. So these are impressive numbers pre-crisis. You can imagine where it is now for the platforms of collaboration. So let's have a think, because I think a lot of us, when it comes to assessing what we've got and working out, do we keep it? This is important. What are the features of good collaboration platforms? There's 4 of them. And this came out, and I've collected these from a variety of 3 studies, 1 from MIT and 2 that were published in HBR, Harvard Business Review. So it's a really interesting mix. The number 1, documenting the mission and goals. Now, remember in the cross-functional team, one of the most important things was to be able to articulate a shared purpose, that goal, that vision. From a platform, the ability to document it on the platform is extremely important. Roles and responsibilities. What do people do? What are they in charge of? What is their expertise? One of the MIT study found that if you are sharing the expertise of the people on a team, particularly when it's cross-functional, people are leveraged, people are used much more frequently and able to contribute, because we understand not just what their job is, but what they are capable of doing and what they can bring to the table. So it's the roles and responsibilities. I would augment that by saying also the capabilities of the individual. So for me, if I was on a team, it would be HR, maybe HR technology. But my love and my curiosity, my interest in AI might mean that I bring more to the table as well. So that's a very important one, to be able to do that in a platform. So when I mean a platform, I mean, goodness, I've misplaced my phone. That's very strange. So it's just something on your phone. Just something on your phone. That an app, that's what I mean by a platform, if you're a little confused. So, and the other thing is a roadmap, a process roadmap. So you know where you're going. People have that shared path in mind. The second one is around how we're exchanging knowledge. Now, if we think about the way that we are communicating, that is a way of sharing knowledge. But it's very disparate. We're using multiple systems to communicate different things. There are some fantastic tools out there. I found some virtual whiteboards lately. They're really cool. I didn't know about them beforehand, where you can literally sit with in a webinar and scribble together on a whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard, of course. Really interesting technologies that are coming out. It doesn't have to be part of a single platform as long as you can integrate it with the platform. So the most important thing is to think about the knowledge that you need to exchange and how it is captured. And the capturing is actually more important for later. It's not just for that immediacy. It's being able to go back and have a look at it. The third one, coordination of activities. This is a little more detailed than just the process roadmap. I think a lot of us use tools like project tools where this is very, very well done. Maybe not the other components, but this is very well done. We know what our deliverables are, things like Jira and Trello and all those agile project management tools, very good at these things. They are necessary, but they are not sufficient to foster good collaboration. And the last one, I find this one a little bit melancholy because it's strange to share, because today saying this, it means something so different to if I said it before. We know in HR, as HR professionals, we understand this importance of keeping people together, being able to express ourselves, making sure that people feel valued, they've been heard. We're not just talking. That's another reason I love the chat. I know that you are hearing me. Good collaboration platforms allow and support different types of communication. I'm sure going forward after this experience, the COVID-19 experience, we will all look at communication or anything where people connect online. We will look at it differently because we have a different understanding of that social need, one that we didn't have experience in quite the same way as we do now. So that's a very important part, and my favorite one to end on in terms of the features of good collaboration platforms. So what can we do in HR to support collaboration? And this is aside from tech, as well as tech, but aside from tech, because we need to do both as HR. We're not one or the other. We need to make sure we're developing people, develop the skills so they can work cross-functionally well, and the leaders. We need to orientate our awards away from individualized and creative work. We want people working well in teams. We should not be rewarding individual effort. I know this is a contentious discussion point. I'm happy to come back to it in the Q&A if you like. And it is very difficult, particularly when it comes to our performance management systems. How do we get away from this? But remember, if we are rewarding creative work, we are undermining creativity. If we are rewarding individual effort, we are undermining teamwork. So it's not to reward separately, it's just to make sure that we're orientating them away from that, not necessarily towards the opposite. We also need to recruit differently. We're hiring for collaboration. Have a think. The last person you recruited, was there much? Did you ask them about a story of collaboration? Did we assess how well they can collaborate? Did we hire just for the skills and the capabilities that they have now, their current expertise? Are we fitting them into a little narrow function? Or are we having a much broader? So, for example, the example I shared, I'm passionate about artificial intelligence. Not artificial intelligence in HR necessarily, but AI. That is a different dimension. And we've all got different dimensions to us. Every single one I know on this call, I don't even have to ask, because I know you have more dimensions to you than fit in that little box, fit your job description. We need to hire beyond it. And if we hire the capabilities and the skill set for effective collaboration and a broader set of skills, we will be able to help our companies collaborate and innovate much more effectively. And that also goes to our structure. We need to move away from the functional silos. And the corporate social network. Corporate social network. Have you heard that phrase before? How do we go about supporting informal community building with the corporate social network? No, I don't mean the technology. I mean the connectedness between people, which brings us to what I think is the most important, particularly in days like today. So, questions, more time for our chat. Let me bring my chat group up. Thank you so much. Oh, great. Thanks. Sorry, Rance, I just saw your last one there for the last question. Thank you. Okay, here's the last set of questions I'd love to see your answers to. Do you feel connected to your colleagues? Do you have an affinity for them? Are you friends? How often do you participate? Are you right in the center? Do you like being the one first on stage for karaoke? Or are you a little bit more shy when it's your turn, you sneak away to the bathroom? You like to watch everything on the sidelines. Do people come to you for input and information, or are you the one seeking support from others? How close do you feel to your team? How has it changed? Looking forward to your answers in the chat.
Okay, don't be shy. Do you feel connected? Say yes if you do. Ayan.
Yeah, nice one, Griselda. Yes, I think we are Zoomifying everyone too much these days. Nice. Thanks, Alan, Zev. Thank you so much. Not always. I love the honesty. Thank you, Fatima. Yes. And yes, HR, we can feel like a family. That's very true. We're good people. That's really lovely. Yeah, trying hard. Nice one, Anna. Not always easy, is it? Nice idea, not always easy. And I love that. Thanks, Elaine. Family spirit is present. I think even in families these days, when we're all stuck at home, the family spirit is hard to maintain. So yeah, that's great. Wonderful. Thanks, Ella. Regina, thank you. Maurice, yeah. Okay, you're the first one to communicate. Wonderful. I think this is very important for us in HR, that people feel that they can approach us. That's great, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Pam. Thanks so much for sharing. We are social creatures. We have this need to belong. When we are being onboarded, integrating us into the social network is the most important thing if we are going to increase retention and even productivity of people. When we are connected, we have a sense of belonging. We share information. Now, remember, we want people to share information in difficult situations, like in cross-functional teams. We want people to collaborate. It is important that people share information. We also want people to cooperate. It's interesting that when there's a high degree of connectedness, people are more cooperative and trusting. And last but absolutely not least, today, employee well-being. We could talk about this in the Q&A. I'm happy to. Employee well-being is so important, and the connectedness that is related to that, or the being disconnected, which I think sometimes for our own well-being is necessary. Times have certainly changed. I'm not going to dwell on this topic here, but I did want to leave you with this image. If you have not yet explored organization social networks, please do. These are very important ways of understanding our organization. Let's have a look at these images. So what it is mapping, every little spot is a person, and the line between them represents communication. So it might be even email communication in between the people. Now, the image on the left shows that the functions do not have much interaction with the other functions. In fact, the blue, the green, and the red teams have absolutely no involvement with one another whatsoever. Being able to operate cross-functionally is extremely difficult, will be extremely difficult for this team. If this is what your organization looks like, and the communication between people today across different functions, you have a different challenge if you are the company on the right-hand side. Helping people, how do they learn how to communicate, to work cross-functionally and collaborate and communicate with people from different backgrounds? On the right-hand side, they've got different problems. I would say there's two teams, and yes, they are highly integrated, but there are two people you can see near the top left-hand corner, the two little green dots that aren't connected to anybody. Now, for me, this would worry me as an HR person. To me, this means that these people are likely to leave. There is a low degree of connectedness. It would also concern me greatly if they held some very key information for the business, if their knowledge and expertise is critical. Because if this was done and we were mapping, say, a month's worth of communications, they have not communicated with anyone for a month. So there's a different issue that we need to understand and address as HR people. So if you've not done it already, I encourage you to look deeper into how to understand and map and your organization, your company social network. There are some great tools available to do it. Happy to take it offline and talk to you about them later. But now let's move into the tech. So there is a plethora of tech tools available today. I know you will recognize a lot of them on the screen here. It's difficult to separate social network and collaboration. I like putting them together because when we think about our ecosystem, what tools we're giving people, it is quite different. What to do today? So what I am going to task you, not on the call, but to take away. Number one, we have spent so long building the employee experience we wanted, and right now, it doesn't exist. A different one has been created by default or design, or simply the choices that we had to make. There now exists a virtual employee experience. We need to go back and question, does that support innovation? What do we need to do about it? How are these 4 C's affected by a virtual EX? And like we do in the normal days of employee experience, when we're thinking workplace more commonly, what does that experience look like now? What does it need to, how has it changed? And how do we need to modify it further for our organization? We've got some really, we're lucky right now. There is a huge amount of information that we can go out and gather and learn about our organizations that we couldn't have before. Please use this opportunity to gather information, focusing on the experience. Map the tech journey. Understand how different people in your organization have used different tools. Understand the employee journey and the experience associated with this. We know technology is a key part of the employee experience. It can look so different. This is just one organization. All the tools that would be using, that an employee may be using in the course of their work. I encourage you to go and have a look, map what that journey looks like for your people today. And then redesign your ecosystem. So there's a lot of different ways of looking at it. There is a number of sites. If you feel free to reach out over LinkedIn, I'm happy to help. But there are a lot of different ways that we, different tools and specialized tools, whether we're scheduling, whether we're doing chats. I know a lot of the one on web and video conferencing, like we're using now, is a lot more common than it used to be. So you need to think about the ecosystem for innovation and as aligned to the employee experience. Now, we're at 8 minutes, so I'm just going to leave you with one. Let me see. Yep, I'll put this one in the deck that I send out. But I want you to leave you with one key idea. Technology is not the solution. We need to understand the problem. And because things have changed, the problems have changed. While we need to think about what the new normal is, it's not here yet. We are actually in this state of flux where we can analyze yet again. We know innovation is imperative, but please, technology is only part of the solution. It's a very important part of the solution, but in itself, it is not a solution. Always look for human and tech together when you're looking at solutions. With that, I'm going to pass it back over. Are you there? Where are you? Oh, thank you so much. I'll give you back control. I'll thank you so much for everyone's participation on the chat. It was fantastic talking with everyone. So I'll hand it back to you. And please, everyone, I'm open to any question that you'd like to ask, unless you want to know what is really behind me here. That's the only one I won't answer.
Thank you so much, of course, Ma'am Philippa Pip Penfold. Ma'am Pip, thank you. Big hand. Ayan. Clap, clap, clap.
Thank you so
We're being
much.
flooded with thank yous and gratitude. You know what, Ma'am Pip, you have been consistently reminding us that technology is there for us to be more human.
Yes.
The first time I heard you, even until now, thank you for that message. Thank you for championing us needing to be humans and not robots. And we thank you for that. We thank you for that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much.
So, Ma'am Pip, if it's okay with you, we'll be having our 2-minute break.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Have
So
my
what's the
coffee.
2-minute break for? That's your coffee break. That's your well, if you want to go to a room or fetch yourself a glass of water. But then again, we are now being flooded with questions as well. So we remind you to write down your questions at the Q&A box. And before we leave for a 2-minute break, you will not see us for 2 minutes, but we don't want you to go away. We would like to greet our birthday celebrant, the only birthday celebrant today. Happy birthday, Anil Malayatil. Anil Malayatil. Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Anil. Happy quarantine birthday. Happy birthday. And
happy birthday celebration.
All right. So again, this is just the first half of our webinar. The second half is even more exciting because Ma'am Pip is excited to hear from you. So don't go away. We'll be right back. We promise.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
And welcome back to our morning webinar with, of course, Ma'am Philippa Pip Penfold. And before I call her back for the Q&A, we'd like to thank our participants right now who have been supporting us since the beginning of April, some from the last part of March. Thank you. Thank you for appreciating the free webinars we're giving you, because we at Ariva, we believe that we have to continually learn, because an ever-learning leader evolves, improves, and advances. This is our gift to you. And we thank you for receiving our gifts of learning through our speakers who offer their services pro bono. Now, we're also giving you an opportunity to give, not really give back or pay it back, but pay it forward. You are being given this platform to be part of the Bayanihan Act 2020. Bayanihan means coming together. Bayan means, of course, Bayan, it's our country. Ani means harvest. Anihan, it's our harvest time. Bayani, you're a hero. So this is I just translated everything for Ma'am Philippa, the meaning of Bayanihan. So we'd like you to take this chance to be part of the Bayanihan Act 2020. Let's pay it forward. Let's help those who are helpless and reliant to the government for dole-outs and support, particularly the Bayan ng Mahayhay, Laguna. So whatever you'll be donating, whether it's $1 or it's 100 pesos or 200 pesos, 100% of the proceeds will be able to gather and collect will go directly to our brothers and sisters. So we are Filipinos who love not only the Filipinos who are prospering, but even more so those who are in pain and in grief. So thank you for that from Ariva Academy. We thank you. But then again, this could have not happened without the generous support of our speakers, just like Ma'am Pip. So again, thank you, Ma'am Pip, for the pro bono.
You're very welcome.
Sharing
I'm very
of your
happy
knowledge.
to contribute.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma'am Pip. And so
when I heard that Ariva was doing the fundraiser, it was absolutely, I'm very happy to give you my time. As they say, we are not all in the same boat, but we are definitely in the same storm. So it's important that all of us help everybody who needs help at this time.
Wow, thank you so much, Ma'am Pip. And then for everyone, let's move on. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you in advance for your generosity. Before we go to the Q&A, here are our Q&A rules. Zoom participants, type in your questions, not at the chat box, but at the Q&A box. And for our participants, please click the raise button so that Ma'am Pip can see you virtually and hear your voice and answer your question personally. For our Facebook Live viewers, you can type in your question. We are streaming live via Facebook. We are being seen via YouTube, live streaming, and LinkedIn. And just a while back, President Michelle Irish Malonda Samson, Miss Irish, read the international participants. Now it's time for us to recognize the Philippine participants. If it's okay, Ma'am Pip?
Of course, absolutely.
So I'll do it alphabetically. Angeles City, Baguio City, Cagayan de Oro City, Cebu City, Davao City, General Santos City, Laguna, La Trinidad Benguet, La Union, Lingayen, Pangasinan, Malvar, Batangas, Ormoc City, Panabo City, Colomoloc, South Cotabato, Quezon Province, where I'm from, Trece Martires City, Tugigaraw, and Valenzuela City. Ma'am Pip, no pressure. But the whole Philippines is watching right now. Not only through Zoom, but via Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thank you. Now, Ma'am Pip, we have pre-sent questions, but we also have the Q&A box our reference. So let's read the Q&A. One anonymous attendee asked this, or maybe, I'm not sure if it's a question. Media is being used for government's communication. Okay,
I think that one came in when I asked about it. Someone just got a little mixed up on the Q&A in the chat. That's all right.
Venus Liwanag, do we reward the team or unit who performs better than other teams? And how do we acknowledge the specific persons who contributed more to the tasks?
Venus, you have identified a very difficult question because we typically are rewarding individuals today. And when we've moved to teamwork, it's been very difficult. One company did it very successfully by literally giving everyone exactly the same. They were not differentiating at team level, but they let the teams do that. So if you thought that your teammate was not contributing, then you would vote them down in terms of percentage. So the teams were equal. It was the team members who decided on their contributions.
Thank you, Ma'am.
I think the other thing there is to think about reward effort, not just output. We used to talk output, impact. Actually, if we're talking innovation, it's what we're doing. It's the participation as well. Not that we want everyone to get a participation score, but yeah. Great question, Venus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Pip, and thank you, Ma'am Venus. We have a Zoom live question. Edna Lynn Magnaye. Hi, Edna Lynn.
Hi.
Where are you, Edna Lynn Magnaye? Edna Lynn? Okay, well, our tech department is handling the glitch. Can we move on to the next question, Ma'am Pip?
Absolutely, no problem.
Okay, anonymous attendee, what kind of technology do you suggest HR professionals can use to keep track and ensure employees' productivity and quality output, especially since remote working is now being employed? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a difficult one, and I'm not surprised you asked it anonymously. It is a challenging one at this time. There have been some companies that have been implementing tools to monitor people, whether they're sitting at their desks, whether they are, what there is even on their screen. They're snooping on what's on their screen. I'll be honest, I do not agree with this. I do not think that sitting in front of our computer means that we are productive. I don't think that not looking at Facebook does not mean we are productive. If we're sitting in the office, we're not looking at the screen doing work 24/7. We need breaks. We talk to people, we use the washroom. The same happens at home. The other reason I don't like this is these are not normal times. We cannot expect, or we should not expect people to be productive when they're worried about their children, when they're worried about trying to keep their elderly parents safe. This is not a normal time to be pushing on productivity. Companies that are focused on productivity as an input rather than an output, I think are losing a huge opportunity to demonstrate trust and build a better culture with their employees. Because that type of culture, that monitoring culture, that's not where you want to be in a new normal. You know, what are we going to do? End up a virtual police state? That's the end goal. So there are no technologies I would recommend, because I would not recommend technology that could do this. There's definitely some around. Think about how else you can reframe the problem to solve it in other ways. Often it is management pushback and education. I know that is the harder way.
Thank you, Ma'am Pip. It is true, no? Because some people would think being policed and the managers breathing down their necks, micromanagement, there will be no trust. Trust will be gone.
Exactly.
You're
exactly right, Harold. I have seen exactly that. There's some organizations that have responded by micromanaging and it's imploding. The trust is gone, the culture is toxic, and it was good in the office, and it's just absolutely, crashed and burned. So yeah, we all need to keep an eye on that as HR people. I know we usually struggle with micromanagers in the workplace. This is even more important. Completely agree, Venus. Micromanagement is a leadership failure. Great point. Absolutely.
I agree.
Clearly, I'm passionate about this. Sorry, Hal. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Pip, and thank you, Ma'am Venus, for affirming the points of view of Ma'am Pip and myself as well. Ma'am Joanne Tacorda, productivity in a work-from-home setting is always a bone of contention. From your experience and using a tech lens, what are basic must-haves to ensure it's productivity again?
But I think it's from a personal point of view. So I'll share personal experience because it's been very different today than normal. Coming up to agreements with people in my household about when I get to work. So everybody's left now. I didn't kick them out of the house. Otherwise, you'd hear toilets flushing and
Get out of my room.
This is how we live now. So having to make agreements so that there are times I can be productive, and there are times I'm orientated with family. And I think we just have to, be realistic and know that everybody is in this place at the moment. For me, the technology that I use is not necessarily what I'm using, but is what is sitting in between. So the effectiveness of the tech is also limited and guided by its use by the person I'm working with. I'm going to take a slight. There is a really important point I want us all to think about for our employees. And this is very relevant in Philippines and many other markets in our region across Asia. While we can assume we have laptop, we have internet, we've got headphones, we've got, lighting, even though it's a funny light. This is, we are lucky. Many do not. Many do not have a reliable laptop. We're talking about people working on phones in cupboards with very bad internet. The idea, so when you're talking about making sure the basic must-haves, everyone has to have internet. I was talking to someone from World Vision. They made sure in a lot of the countries, everyone had good, solid internet paid for. Laptops, hardware, we've got to have the hardware. Without decent hardware, we cannot work. And the third thing is the security, the software. It's not necessarily the tools, it's how do we help them maintain security at this time, cybersecurity. So they are the three basic must-haves: solid technology, internet, and cybersecurity taken care of. And the rest of it, we just have to work out with the people in our families.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Pip. We also have pre-sent questions. This morning, I received it from our department, from Ariva, working in Parañaque remotely. From Kana Patricia Apostol. Do you think working remotely will be part of the new normal? How do you suggest HR professionals assure quality output and productivity from their employees despite not being able to physically monitor them? I think that has been addressed. What do you think is the best way to onboard employees and hire remotely? And how can we best support employees with the highest risk profiles? New hires?
It's Patricia, yes? It was Patricia who asked?
It was, Kana Patricia.
Fantastic questions. I'm going to leave the productivity piece, but the others absolutely very important. Yes, simply. I think more of us are going to work from home in different ways, especially when the kids go back to school and other people go back to office, because we can't all do it at the same time. But yes, I think we have now seen what is possible, which we didn't before. Where we thought we could not work remotely, we now can. So yes, I think more people will work from home. There's a great article. I will update the slideshow with this article and make sure it's shared with everyone. It's on MIT, from MIT, and it's an article by a professor from London Business School called Linda Grattan. She is an organization specialist, and she shared something really interesting, a study. 46% of people wanted to go back to the office to connect with people. So I think when we are all desperate just to reconnect. I think when we do, we need to rethink how are we getting this balance right? What is enough? What work needs to be done where? How are we giving the control and the choice to people to manage? So yes, but I don't know how. And I think that the answer is different for everybody. And we need to engage and talk and ask our employees to find out what that might be like. The second point, I loved your question around onboarding and recruitment. Someone said the other day, you know what, if we are working virtually, I don't need to recruit from our city. In fact, I don't even need to recruit from my country. I can recruit globally. And I thought, oh goodness, I hadn't even thought of that. But he's right. If that is what we're doing, if this is what we can do, that all sorts of things have opened up, all sorts of opportunity of how we're working. Some companies, and I'm not going to go into it because I know other companies have done better with onboarding, but the onboarding component, yes, there is the technical and the work, but that social piece. It is the social piece where onboarding either succeeds or falls down. How do we do that online? I'm not sure. I don't have all the answers. At the moment, we need to be asking a lot of the right questions. And you guys absolutely have got the right questions that you're asking and thinking about. We'll come back together maybe in a month or two and talk more answers.
And you've got, you've given great answers. Thank you, Ma'am Pip. On that, well, as a follow-up question to what has been asked a while back. So this is about training their people. Now, I lost it. So, from Regina Angeli Tobias, how can HR technology be used in corporate training? She never mentioned if it's tech training, hard skills, or soft skills, but
it's a good one. And there's a lot of the learning platforms and learning technologies are changing very rapidly. Back in the old days, if you're of my vintage, you remember we just took PowerPoint and put them onto online, and then we had learning management systems. And what we were managing, they looked actually very like performance management systems. There may have been competency frameworks built in there, but really what we were following is, did someone tick, get it done? Tick, yes, they did it. They may have a score, and that was pretty much it. It has evolved into much more of an experience. There is so much information available. The important thing today is, when do we need to know what we need to know? Now, I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but I know a lot about, say, AI is my favorite, is my topic, but you don't need to know anything about it until you need to know something. And then what do you need to learn? What is it that you need to know about AI at that point? That learning, I think Josh Bersin coined the phrase learning in the flow of work, and that's what he means. How do we make sure that the learning and the information is available when a person needs it? We've still got a long way to go on this, I'll be honest. I think there is going to be much more intuitive tools shared and coming out around learning experience platforms, but there's a lot more opportunity, let's say, as we move forward into learning. I'm also a big fan of blended learning. I don't believe in fully online or necessarily fully offline. If I had to choose, honestly, I'd go fully offline more than fully on, because we're human beings. It's just sometimes the connection is important, particularly in workshops and those sorts of things. So I wish I had a simple answer for you. There are so many out there that is very hard to refine. I would prioritize, what do your people need to know and in what format? Okay, so the online compliance training, this is not what we're talking about. How are we giving them learning so that they're improving in their work? The answer actually lies with the employees. If you know what it is they need because you go and ask them, then you'll know what you're looking for in the technology, because there's so much, it's a dizzying amount of technology out there. I know we all know in terms of HR tech. Who knows where to start sometimes?
Thank you, Ma'am Pip.
Thanks for the question.
I'm sorry? And thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
In fact, right now we're bombarded with, just like, scanning my newsfeed, Facebook. Right now, there are 27 live webinars just right now at this time of the day, which means that there's a temptation for us to learn as much as we can, and then some of them, if not most of them, will not be useful as of that moment. So thank you for letting us know about what to prioritize, what learnings should be focused on at that particular moment.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, Mary Catherine Para. Hi, Pip. Challenges we have right now is keeping the employees engaged. Do you have any ideas or suggestions on activities we can do using the mentioned available tech tools?
Great question. We're all struggling with this. I've heard people share things from online yoga to baking contests, being much more realistic. I think we've all become very human. It's not every day I admit I've got pajamas on the bottom half. We've all become much more human through this experience. I think anyone who's tried to hold up the facade of everything being perfect and clean and organized, while we could have done it at work, it came crumbling down when we moved into our homes with our families and everything else that's going on. So it is difficult. We are competing for their attention because we've got a lot going on. We are all at home. It is a very unusual time. I think the engagement actually starts there. Yes. Recognizing that this is an unusual time and that engagement is going to dip. There was another webinar I've been doing a lot as well and attending a lot. There was a great webinar, I think it was through MIT, on a survey of senior HR professionals globally and how they have been responding and the impact on the workforce and their engagement. The most important, the most impactful for keeping people engaged was the degree of empathy exhibited by leadership. Wow. It's not talking about productivity. It's not talking about, how to keep that product going out to the market and our sales targets and all that. It was being human. Wow. And I think that it really spoke to me. As Hal knows, I love tech, but only when it blends for the human. It's not one or the other. It's always both. But this time I actually think that there has been a unique opportunity for companies to show their human side like there never has been before. So if you want to engage, make sure you are showing enough empathy. And not just you, because I'm sure as HR you are. It is the leadership team is demonstrating empathy towards everyone. Find out how they are feeling and then engage. Baking contests, yoga situations, Friday drinks, Zooms, all sorts of things. In fact, get them to suggest what might work for them. It could be a kids get to know each other session. Because the engagement is not necessarily the engagement of work. The engagement is keeping the head and heart together so that they are prioritizing work and they come back to work. I'm sure a lot of us think now they've been out, that decision that they made to leave their company, that was the right one. We want to make sure that we're reinforcing people's decision to stay. So you want engagement, empathize.
Empathize, I love it. Again, I am impressed by you teaching us to balance AI and tech with the human factor. We remain to be human. That's your life message. Since last year, I first heard you speak on the platform. Thank you so much. There's hope for utopia.
Yes, there is.
There's hope for utopia. Now, I'm sorry we don't have much time anymore, Ma'am Pip. We're just down to the last question. Time flies so fast. We're having fun.
It does. I'm having fun. Is everyone else having fun? And I hope it's not such a boring webinar as they have. I've been on some really boring ones. I hope it's not too boring for everyone.
You have been collaborative, you have been creative. That's why we, right now, are willing to work with you. So for the last question from Regina Angelito Bias, Pip, kindly just clarify what you meant by allowing people to learn what interests them. What do we need to do or change if we are pushing for certain competencies or have prescribed courses for particular people?
We do this in HR. So this is a great question. Thank you. We have built this funny system where we have our competency frameworks and our job families and our career paths. And the entire learning system is designed to move people up the ladder. Now, we know ladders rarely exist. They're disintegrating before our eyes. In fact, going further up the ladder is not necessarily where we go to maintain employability anymore, let alone learning. My advice, it is very difficult to throw that away. And there is some relevance. So, and it has a stigma, an approach, an attitude towards it, both as HR, as managers, as an employees. So, you know what, wrap it in a bow. It's okay. It's not bad. It's our history. It's not bad. It's just not as relevant as it used to be. Put it aside. thank it very much and say, that is great. It has a role, put it aside. And then think of, if we were starting with a clean slate, what would we do? What would we do with helping people foster their curiosity? Because the first thing to find out is, what are they curious about? Where do they spend their time learning about different things? Now, I'll share a quick story. When so after years and years in HR, I think I'd got to 17 years of corporate HR. And then I heard this thing called AI. I'm thinking, I've got no idea what that is. I'm Googling away. I didn't know what it was. Long story short, I had to go out and discover what it was for myself. I discovered learning opportunities in person. It was actually the main one was at a place called SG Innovate, which is an incubator in Singapore that has open events and discussions on this topic. I was the only HR person there, and I'll be honest, sometimes all I understood was the person introductions. This is really hardcore tech. And I stayed there. I stayed because I really wanted to learn. The thing is, no one in the business, in any company I did, ever asked me what I am interested in. There was no way of saying, actually, I'm interested in learning about this. What do I do? I think the first step for us is to ask our employees, what are you curious about? What would you like to learn about? You'll find some consistencies. It may seem strange that an HR person is curious about AI, but it is a benefit if you know it in the workplace. So with that in mind, start by asking. Once you know what they're interested in, talk to them about the format they like. And then the answer about what tech platform becomes very clear. You may find it's actually informal community groups. It's not just a tech platform. You may have lots of lunch and learns of very random people coming together to watch a YouTube video. That helps your cross-cultural, your cross-functional collaboration. It helps, satisfy curiosity. And it's not destroying anything that exists beforehand. It's not rebuilding it. I tend to think our past and our future need to live side by side as we reinvent. A lot say, oh, well, this past, rubbish. No, it had a role. It was good. Let's build upon the strength of it with something different. So, number one, ask them. Ask them.
Thank you, Ma'am Pip, and thank you for the wonderful message you've given us. The last minute of our show is called The Takeaway.
Yeah.
Distilling all your life's experiences in the past many years as an HR practitioner, AI expert, what will be the nuggets of wisdom you'd like to leave us and our viewers, not only via Zoom, but also Facebook Live, YouTube, and LinkedIn?
Hi, everyone. Wherever you are joining from, nuggets. Now, I'm not going to stick to my script of the presentation. I would say embrace technology. It's great. It's so much fun. And it does not replace everyone on this call. I know you are, like me, as an HR person, with your interest area. We need to bring human and tech together. I do not want a world where the human and tech is brought together only by technologists. It needs people like us involved. It doesn't matter if we're trying to instill human into the empathy of our leaders in this point of this crisis, or whether we're talking about how do we bring people together to innovate in the future. Technology is always part of the solution, but we must always be thinking about how we blend the two together for a human tech future.
Thank you so much. Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, Ma'am Philippa P. Penfold. Everyone, put your hands together. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you. Ma'am Pip, we hope...
Everyone can see my great...
No. You know what? What we see is a beautiful human being, AI expert, but at the same time, fully human. And that's the most...
Like everybody else here. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Feel free to send me other questions separately over LinkedIn. I'd love to engage. Take care. Please stay safe.
You
everybody.
too. Take care, Ma'am Pip, and the rest of the household. Take care, everyone. See you in the Philippines.
Yes, I look
soon.
forward to coming back. As soon as there's flights, I'll see you all there. I look forward to it.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
thank you, Ma'am Pip. And for our participants, don't go away because as Ma'am Pip fades out, enters our president, Miss Irish. Hello, Miss Irish. Grabe, sobrang galing.
Yes, it was
Brilliant.
indeed an insightful and fun e-learning session from Miss Pip Penfold. Thank you so much, Miss Pip. Okay, and Sir Howell.
What's my
Your
takeaway?
Yes.
You know what? My takeaway is not only the four C's she shared, not only about creativity, communication, collaboration, and connection. Not only that, my greatest takeaway is the affirmation of the fact that my first impression of Ma'am Pip last year, August last year, remains
HR Congress.
to be HR Congress in the Philippines remains to be true. That she is the person fully human, embracing technology, so that in this time of dystopia, we can bring utopia back. We can be in control. We will live in an ideal life. Why? Because technology is not an enemy. It's also not our God, but this is a tool for human beings to be more human. So that's my takeaway. Thank you, Ma'am Pip.
I agree.
Thank you, Ma'am Pip.
So mine is technology isn't the solution until you understand the problem.
Wow.
And then it is only part of the solution. So
I
with
agree.
that, thank you, Miss Pip.
Thank
And
you,
also,
Ma'am Pip. Thank you.
thank you, Sir Howell, for moderating our e-learning session. I'll be seeing you this
afternoon
for another e-learning series from our speaker, Dr. Indigo Triplet.
And I'm thankful that we have women CEOs joining us. 3 CEOs. And then one president, 2 CEOs, 3 beautiful women leaders. Miss Irish, Ma'am Pip, and then later on this afternoon, Dr. Indigo.
Oh.
It's a pleasure. I am one lucky man.
Okay, I'll see you later, Sir Howell. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And guys, please don't go away. This is not yet the end of our e-learning session. I would like to thank our partners. So please allow me to thank our official media partner, Art Plus Magazine, digital media partners, Focus Media, Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcome, Elevate Media. Thank you to our win-win partners, Brother, Faber-Castell, Glutacy, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Lotus Biscoff, Boss Job, Sir Technology Inc., Finma Properties. Thank you to Salary Jet, Ilawi Korea, Kidosuan and Carpo Consulting. Thank you also to Enchanted Kingdom, Disperse, Cosmotech Philippines Inc. And if you want to place your ads here, advertise your company, your logo, please email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. It's Ariva Academy Philippines Inc. Please scan this QR code and this will be directed to our Facebook page. Don't forget to like us, Ariva Academy Philippines Inc. And for those of you who want to watch again the replay of our e-learning sessions and our previous e-learning sessions, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Again, it's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. For our upcoming online learning sessions, please register. We would like to invite you another series for HR Virtual Summit PH 2020. So for details and to register, please visit our website www.ariva.com.ph. We have invited international and local subject matter experts to share with us some insights on HR in the new normal of world of work. Okay. This will be later in the afternoon. We will be joined by Dr. Indigo Triplet. She will be discussing from surviving to thriving in the new normal. So don't forget, guys, 3 to 4:30 p.m. And on May 4th, this coming Monday, we will be having again Professor Ricky De Vera, and he will be discussing the VUCA leadership, transforming a COVID-19 situation. So please don't forget to register. And on May 6th, Wednesday, we will be having Sally Foley Lewis. She will be discussing leading productively in turbulent times. 10:30 to 11:30. Okay, and we will be having three guest speakers. This will be on May 6th, Wednesday. Be more with less. How to stay positive, healthy, and productive during tough times. We will be having none other than Mr. Howell Mabalot, Coach Randy Esguerra, and Miss Susette Shapno. And on Thursday, May 7, we have invited Mr. Ronnie Turla. He will be discussing best practices on human resource planning during uncertain times. We would like to invite you on our e-learning masterclass, Online Selling from Home, How to Use FB, IG, and LinkedIn for your business. This will be on May 7, and this will be discussed by none other than the Asia's Millennial Guru, Mr. Jonathan Yabot. And on May 8th, we invited Mr. Roger Colliantes, none other than Mr. Roger Colliantes. He will be discussing Don't Waste a Good Crisis, How to Thrive, Not Just Survive during a global pandemic. Don't forget to register May 8th. We have another e-learning masterclass. We would like to invite you to register, Leading a Work from Home Workforce, How to Manage and Develop Remote Teams. This will be on May 14 and will be discussed again by Mr. Jonathan Yabut. If you want to customize an e-learning session exclusive for your team, for your company, invite our guest speakers, invite our Ariva partner speakers, please do reach me at 0916-695-4418, or you may email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hope we can see you again this afternoon. From surviving to thriving in the new normal, we will be having Dr. Indigo Triplet. Again, this is Irish Malonda in Ariva Academy. It's all about being better. Be safe and stay home, guys. Good morning.